Alright guys, so one of the things that I'm doing here is I'm actually removing the original ARP studs that this 347 that I'm building came with. I had this motor professionally built. So I'm actually removing those ARP studs and I'm going to replace them with the studs that actually came with the DSS main girdle that this block is getting ready to get. But the reason why I wanted to do this is because I searched the internet, for the actual install of the main girdle, and I came up short. I just didn't see one anywhere. All over YouTube, and didn't see one. And if nothing else, I may have found some instructions on how to, put the girdle in place, but nothing that you can actually, follow along and see. So, as you can see, come up close. You'll see that this block here originally had studs, but these were the short studs, and as you can see that there's a difference between this stud here and these studs, which are the ones that actually are going to go on the main girdle here, which capture the box, which as you see is what I'm going to be installing here. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to remove the studs that I currently have in place and install the ones that are actually designed for the girdle itself. So hopefully this can help some of you guys out there that may have questioned, how can I get a girdle installed on my engine, and though you may have some instructions, you really haven't seen how this is done. So this is going to be a long video, so I'm going to do this in stages. So right now I'm going to continue removing the short studs that are in place right now, and I'm going to be replacing them with the longer studs so that the girdle can sit in place and be secure. So this will be part one. Alright guys, so this is the second video that I'm actually doing, and as you can see right now, I've taken the original studs that I had in place here, and I've replaced them so far with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the studs that are required to install the DSS main girdle in here. I'm going to let you see exactly what it looks like up close. Hope that the lighting is working for us here. We're in the garage. It's pretty cold outside and I've got the door closed. So now I'm going to go ahead and set it in place. Come around so you can get some light in here. So now I wanted just to kind of mock it up real quick for you to see something. So as you can see, these studs are actually coming up out of the girdle, and that's what's going to obviously is going to be needed. The original studs sit in place real low, as you can see. Well, let me remove this so you can see them. There they are. They're the original ARP studs that I had originally put in, and then I decided to go with the main girdle. I know that there's a lot of controversy out there whether one is needed or is even necessary, but when you've got a $5,000 shore block, the build itself and all the components, why take a chance? Just a couple $100 of a main support system, could make a difference in the end. But anyway, so the studs are right there, and there's a difference on the other studs. Now let me point something out, that this stud here is not going to be as tall as this one here, because the oil pump sits here on this side, and so this stud, when I replace it, it's going to be a short stud, and I'll do another video on that. So I'm going to continue removing the studs, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the girdle in place. Let me point something out to you guys, that if you're not familiar with how this works, when you remove a stud, and you put a stud back in place, they have to be just finger tight. You don't have to, really crank a stud in place. Just make sure that it's got the appropriate lubricant as you put the stud in place, and just get it finger tight in there. That's all you really need. You could actually grab the stud and back it out by hand. So again, if you're not familiar with using studs instead of bolts, when you put the stud in place, just make sure it's finger tight, and then put the nut over it. Make sure you've got the appropriate lubricant that's needed, and make sure that the threads on your studs are clean. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video right now, just one more time show you exactly how this is coming along. You'll see that I've yet to replace the studs at the end here on both ends, and once I do that, then I'll be able to set the girdle in place and secure it. Alright guys, so just to really quick show you where we are with this project. So I'm going to take the oil pump and the pickup off just to kind of give you an idea of what we've done so far. Let's set this here so it doesn't fall. Alright. Alright, so this is the shortest stud in the kit that comes with the DSS main girdle setup, and I'm going to just remove it. Alright, so as you can see here, you've got the larger studs in place, right? And here towards the front of the engine is the short stud, and that's because the oil pump is going to sit right over it, so it needs to be the short stud. And you got to make sure that that's where you place it. So with this setup, if you use the right lubricant when you get your studs in place, you want to torque the studs to 85 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish up the last 5 pounds so you guys can kind of see where we're at with this, and then I'll get this stud girdle in place, right? So there is the last 5 pounds. And you know, it doesn't hurt to just be sure and do one last check. So I got, just to be sure. Alright, so we're done there. Now we have our girdle here. And it'll sit on top of the block like so. Now there's some washers that come with the girdle. We got to make sure we get those on. As you can see, these are specialty washers that are made by DSS. So get these guys here at the bottom. Well, there we are. I said bottom, guys, but actually I stand corrected. These go on top. They have to center. Now the front stud here doesn't take one of these specialty washers. It uses a flat washer here at this point. and uses a smaller nut. We'll get that on there. And of course, each of these nuts that come with the girdle, they're self-locking nuts. So get these guys out. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a little emblem right on these here, and that basically is saying that these are self-locking nuts. So I'm just going to stage these on there real quick. Now I'm going to just go ahead and stage these on, and I'm going to come back and finish this up at another time. The spec, the actual torque spec on these nuts on top of the girdle, it should be 40 pounds. So now before I go, I just want to give you guys a visual of what the oil pump on top of the girdle setup is going to look like. Basically, it'll look something like that. Actually, this guy goes on top of this. Here. This goes on top of that. So guys, as you can see, it'll look something like that, and if you can come back to the front here, you'll see that there'll be enough space clearance once I torque this nut down to 40 pounds. It'll be low enough that it will not make contact with this here. Now at the end of this here, you want to make sure you rotate your assembly and make sure that everything clears. But I mean, that really is about the basics on getting a DSS girdle installed on your stroker 347. This is a 362 stroke 347, so it'll be a nice engine. 11.5 to 1, all force pistons, balanced and blueprinted. Can't wait to see it running, and so we'll follow up with you again.